Alright, hello, welcome to the Ubernessinfinite Infinite channel and to the inaugural T.W.I.S.T video. Now, T.W.I.S.T is just a video series idea that I've been sitting on for a while, and it's the acronym that stands for the way I see this. It's just a way for me, to give my ramblings more of an official feel. Now, today's topic is really a doozy, in my opinion. It really made me fed up initially. Just jump into it, shall we? Last Sunday, July 16th, 2017, I realized how toxic the Doctor Who fan base can be. On that day, the BBC announced that the 13th Doctor in Doctor Who will be played by a woman by the name of Jodie Whittaker. And everyone lost their collective minds about it, in both positive and negative ways. Now, the positive reactions to it seem to stem from the fact that we finally got a female actress to play the Doctor. Now, the negative reactions, oh boy, very toxic indeed. Now, these negative reactions come from two sides, which I'm going to be calling Stupid Idiot A and Stupid Idiot B. And of course, with both sides, there are Whovians and non-Whovians who contributed to this cancerous storm of feces. So, 5 reactions that I found from Stupid Idiot A. Number 1, the Doctor shouldn't be a woman. He's always been a male character. Traditionally, male characters shouldn't be female. Number 2, I'm going to stop watching the show now. Number 3, the BBC has fallen victim to the PC culture, the political correctness of society these days. Number 4, the BBC is just pandering to the feminist, SJW, leftist, whatever you want to call it, agenda. Number 5, now even though I know that this isn't the majority of people who would think like Stupid Idiot A, actual misogynists were being butthurt about it. Actual people who hate women were being butthurt about it. Now, to address those, let me just say that it is part of Doctor Who's canon that a Time Lord can change its sex with regeneration. So can the skin color and how young or old they look. I've always been on the mindset that as long as it's part of canon, it's alright. That being said, I get that you're feeling some type of way about this. You've been used to having the Doctor being played by a white dude, and this change has now put you in a tizzy. Hopefully, after a week, your feelings about this have subdued to the point where you can actually give Jodie Whittaker a chance as the Doctor. Now, to address reactions number 3 and number 4, I personally agree to some extent, but there's something extra to this casting. There's something more to this casting that meets the eye. Viewership of the last season was really low. I mean, really low. I will tell you how low it is in a couple of seconds. Now, before I tell you how low the viewership was in last season, I'm just going to put things in perspective by giving you Peter Capaldi's first season, season 8's viewership figures. 7.3 million. Now, season, season 10, which is Capaldi's last season, had the viewership figures of 5.5 million. That is drastically low. With that being said, I can't really blame the BBC for casting Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. This casting choice brings controversy, and controversy brings in more eyes. So it's safe to say that the viewership of Jodie Whittaker's first appearance in the Christmas special this Christmas and in the season 11 premiere are going to be really high. Dare I say her entire first season as the Doctor is going to have really high viewership figures because people want to see how this is going to play out. So to the actual misogynists out there, just grow up, okay? Just grow up. Now, Stupid Idiot B. 5 reactions that I found from them. Number 1, attacks on men. More specifically, attacks on white men. Number 2, attacks on masculinity as a whole and how toxic and fragile it is. Number 3, people who falsely accuse others who don't like the casting choice of misogyny. Number 4, people like feminist frequency complaining about the actress's race. And number 5, just the same thing as number 5 with Stupid Idiot A, actual misandrists, actual people who hate men are celebrating. And now that I think about it, that misandry could come from any of those any of those first 4. Just so you know. Now, let me just address those things. For one, y'all are really ridiculous. Y'all some of the most bigoted people I've seen out there. And I live in the American South, so yeah. Y'all seriously using a casting of a fictional character for a TV show to attack men, and specifically white men. That is really pathetic of you. If you wonder why sexism and racism still exist, look in the mirror and realize that you are contributing to that. You, people who are attacking men, who are attacking white men, who are attacking white people in general, you are indeed contributing to sexism and to racism. Now, to those who think that that masculinity is indeed toxic and fragile, let me just tell you that maybe, just maybe, it's a really, really wild idea, but maybe masculinity isn't toxic. It's more of an individual thing. The individual man can be toxic and or fragile, but not masculinity as a whole. That's the equivalent of me saying that femininity in on itself is toxic and fragile, which is if masculinity itself is also toxic and fragile. Because think about it. Some of y'all women out there are using the fact that people do not like the fact that the doctor is not a woman or disagree with the casting choice in the slightest. Y'all are using those as misogynistic attacks on women and womanhood. And women and womanhood as a whole. So, just to clarify, masculinity and femininity aren't fragile and toxic in itself. It all goes down to the individual. Now, when the news broke about Jodie Whittaker playing the 13th Doctor, Feminist Frequency had this to say. Now, since my voice is really hurting, well, my throat per se is really hurting right now, and I'm not really the best reader out there, so I'm just gonna put the giant text, of her tweet, that I found from her tweets on the screen for a couple seconds. So, you can just pause it, read it. All right, now it's time to get on to it. Now, in the beginning of of her, tweets, it sounds like that she's asking for too much in the whole diversity department. And to tell you the truth, it shouldn't really matter. Now, that's also another video topic that I might do. I don't know. Representation shouldn't matter. What matters more is storytelling. Telling a good story. Since this is all entertainment, it shouldn't really be a political statement, right? And yes, feminist frequency, they are separate issues. They should be treated as such. Now, to those who accuse others of misogyny just because they disagree with you, like they disagree with the fact that the doctor is now a female, or just don't like the casting choice in the slightest. Maybe, just maybe, it's another wild idea I'm throwing out there. Maybe these people that you're accusing of misogyny aren't actual misogynists. Oh, shocker, right? Maybe there's just overly protective nerds who really love Doctor Who and just really, really protective over it. There's nothing wrong, right? There's nothing wrong with being a nerd who's overly protective of their stuff. So with that being said, please don't jump to the assumption of the horrible thing of misogyny and giving people that label who clearly aren't that. Not to those actual misanders out there, to those actual people who hate men. Grow up too. I'm gonna tell you like I did those misogynists. Grow up, okay? Also, I'm gonna tell you, sit down and be humble. Whereas Kendrick Lamar. Now, these couple of things are just some things that I just want to get off my chest. Now, at first, I wasn't really on board with the idea of a female doctor. But the more I thought about it, the more I discussed it with people online, mainly my Doctor Who Facebook group, the more I actually am excited for it. Which is weird because seeing people's reactions online caused me to completely be over it last Sunday, right? So I'm actually kind of glad, I'm also kind of glad that this entire thing brought me closer, per se, with the group itself. I've interacted more, in that group. Let's see. I really do hope that Jodie Whittaker doing a is going to do a really good job as a doctor. I really do. I kind of hope that with a female doctor, we can get an explanation on Time Lord reproduction. I don't have two fears for the future of Doctor Who, especially with Jodie Whittaker's run as a doctor. Number one, I have a feeling that the writing is still going to be pandering to the SJWs and the quote unquote feminists out there like it was last season. Sci-fi show. It's not an SJW experience slash political experience or whatever. It's not political statements, okay? It's time and place for everything. And I think politics should not be discussed in sci-fi. It's just me though. And my number two fear is that I fear that people, especially the BBC, are going to blame men and people online in general for if Jodie Whittaker's run as the Doctor is received poorly. Just like with Paul Feig and Ghostbusters reboot. Now, to those people who are saying that they are just going to stop watching the show, bye. It's goodbye, you fake Whovian. The fandom does not need you at all. Okay? So just go. Right? Which is kind of funny because those who stopped watching after Matt Smith left because the Doctor wasn't really how they wanted to look, the Doctor wasn't attractive enough for them or whatever, they're most likely probably going to start watching now. Now, to just everyone in general, please, and I mean please, just wait until the Christmas special, until her actual season start to judge her as the Doctor. Please do, because you're just wasting your time casting judgments on things you haven't seen. Just wait and see how it turns out. Well, anyway, this concludes this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.